Member for Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Last week, on the 18th of August, the 45th anniversary of the Battle of Long Tan in 1966 during the Vietnam War was marked. This battle is iconic in Australian war history in that it demonstrated the heart and skill of Australian soldiers who did not give up, who stood determined against an opponent that was 20 times larger in number and much better equipped, and the men were able to record an inspirational victory in shocking conditions. Sadly, as has been recounted by others, it was with the loss of 18 heroic lives with 24 wounded. It is a battle that is often referred to showcase the skills of Australian soldiers, but it should also be an inspiration to anyone who faces a difficult task against seemingly impossible odds. The anniversary of the Battle of Long Tan on August 18 has become the day that Australians pause to remember the Vietnam War and all its battles and all who served, and the 528 Australians killed during the conflict. The Battle of Long Tan has become entrenched in the Australian psyche as a touchstone for inspiration, for motivation and determination. If there was anyone who had a right to fail, it was these soldiers, but they didn't give up, and as a result they were able to record an amazing victory, one that we commemorate and discuss today, 45 years later, and many thousands of miles removed from that horrible battlefield here in the Australian Parliament. The figures of this battle are astounding. 108 Australians fought against an estimated 2,500 Viet Cong soldiers in a rubber plantation in driving monsoonal downpour and without radio communications, but through their resilience and courage, the soldiers of D Company 6 RAR were able to record victory. More than 245 enemy soldiers were killed in the conflict. Madam Deputy Speaker, I do pay tribute today to not just the soldiers who fought in Vietnam, but soldiers who fought in all spheres of conflict during our nation's existence. They have risked everything, in some cases lost all, to make sure that as Australians we are able to enjoy the freedom, stability and way of life that we have as a nation, which indeed makes us truly the envy of people throughout the world. On the Sunshine Coast, including in my electorate of Fisher, we have a great number of veterans from various conflicts, including Vietnam. I pay tribute to them all for their efforts in what is the most challenging of vocations, the defence of our country for their families, relatives, friends, neighbours, and also the defence and protection of complete strangers in the theatre of war. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, before I conclude, I just want to say how pleased I am how we collectively as a nation have moved on in the treatment of our war veterans. I think that it's appalling that people who opposed the Vietnam War found it necessary to take out that opposition on people who in some cases were conscripted, who were sent abroad to serve their nation and to serve the policy of the government of the day. And happily, we have moved on, Madam Deputy Speaker, because soldiers who served in Iraq, and that's a war that some segments of the Australian community did not support, but no one in our Australian community has sought to ill-treat or mistreat or blame those brave soldiers, men and women who fought in Iraq, for the policy of the government of the day. And I think that collectively as a nation, Madam Deputy Speaker, we can take great pride in the fact that we have moved on. We have to recognise that people in our military, in fact, do whatever the government of the day tells them to do. If there is a deployment to a certain country, whether or not individuals might support that deployment or support the objects of that deployment, as loyal military personnel, they go and carry out their duty. And I just think that it was appalling that Vietnam veterans were treated with contempt, in some cases even spat on by people who took out their opposition to the war on these people who would serve their country. As I said, that's now not the case. And I think that collectively, as Australians, whatever our view is on any sphere of conflict, I think we have now come to a national community consensus that anyone who serves in our military is worthy of respect. Anyone who carries out his or her duty is worthy of our admiration. And frankly, so many of these people have risked everything, lost all, and let me just say I'm very happy to support the motion before the House, Madam Deputy Speaker, but I just wanted to emphasise how pleased I am and how proud I am that collectively we've moved on to a situation where now we respect everyone who has served our nation with great distinction.